It's now time for your viewer comments. So in this video, we're going to talk about a number of things. First, we're going to see how a limited production run could be a sign of weakness, at least one of our viewers claimed to be. We'll also see the latest chapter in the saga of my wife discovering horology. And lastly, we're going to help a viewer uh, understand a claim that he is insinuating. So let's begin with Watches with Dennis and his comment regarding Flipper's encouragement, that discussion. What he commented on was, first and foremost, he is also a watch reviewer. He has his own YouTube channel. He's delved into many industries, and he has this informative approach to watch commentaries. And he's also a pinball fanatic. So take as much as you will with that. But he has some really insightful opinions about horology in general. But here, he chimes in about the limited production run and how that could be devised by the brands to artificially manufacture desirability or artificially create demand for their brands. But the point, the phrase that I wanted to mention here, or the point that he wanted to make, that I wanted to highlight, is that he finds that it's a sign of weakness when a company keeps relying on this method. As for him, it suggests that the company has all the signs of successfully growing, but it is too scared to really take the chance. Now, in that opinion, I actually both agree and disagree in some aspects. I do agree that if you have the intention to grow your business, to grow your brand, you go all out as much as you can. I know business is a risk unto itself anyway, so why not take the risk wherever you could. Calculate the risk if you want to put it that way, but do as much as you can actively to get out there and grow your brand, grow your collection, grow your audience. Right? So it is a sign of weakness if you tend to continue to live within your box. You know, it's not just thinking out of the box, but continuing to live within your comfort zones tends to hinder or stunt growth. That has been proven in many fields, in many areas, and I think in horology or in watchmaking it's the same. However, what I don't agree is that this is a sign of weakness to every scenario. I think that actually, Watch Dennis is not saying that this applies to every scenario, but it doesn't. Because, say for example, Moser is a small production run brand, but their equity is quite valuable. But they want to be like that. That is their intention. They didn't have the intention to be wide reaching or have a massive production run. That's not their intention. So it doesn't apply to them. But they are a very strong brand. They're actively promoting whatever, wherever they could, their brand, and reaching out to influencers, reaching out to social media and all that kind of stuff. So obviously that doesn't apply to that. In Zelos' case, which is the whole origin of the discussion in the first place, it's possible that Zelos could not do it in an extended run in the first place because they are still a relatively low equity brand, even though they're rising in popularity and is becoming an icon. Let's just say that when it comes to these microbrands. And we've seen also the way that Elshan develops his catalog is that he's willing to continue a certain model, a certain style of watch, but he gradually increases or improves on the features of such watches and the specs. So much so that they look like a totally different brand or totally different model or variant altogether. So in that sense, then they are continuing to grow their collection, but not in a way that kind of applies to what the watch then says. Now to your narrator Bronzo comments. Dunder Hay chimes in again. Great review. Personally, I prefer the darker bronze. I don't like gold. Does that mean I'm not a pirate? Well, two things, Dunder Hay. One, you can choose whatever you want. If you want a darker shade of bronze, go ahead. It's your preference. It's fine. Nobody's forcing you to be like that. Even if we're all called watch pirates, you don't have to be the same. We don't have to be all choosing the same shade of bronze. And second, yes, you are still a watch pirate, but a little bit poorer than most of us. So you're a little bit more broke than the typical watch pirate because you prefer the bronze than the gold. Because everybody knows that there's more value in gold. There's more wealth in gold. It's a finite. Well, bronze is also a finite. Well, no, not really. Gold is a finite material, so there can only be so much to go around to share with other watch pirates. If ever, by choosing bronze over gold, you're just preventing being attractive to the gold digger watch pirate ladies out there. So, in that sense, you are safer, but more humble by choosing bronze. Next, Nick Lassa 892 says or asks, thanks for the video. Have you noticed any patina yet? Well, I'm still wearing the Bronzo from Balenciaga. It's still really, really good. It still kind of looks like that champagne gold tone, barring some stains here and there. You could see a stain there on the lugs. That's a coffee stain from Kunuku Coffee Roasters coffee that I brewed like the other day. Not a sponsor, but they're really good coffee, and I love them, and they support us in a different way. But that's the only thing that this has so far. I have not seen any tarnishing as of yet. There are some specks underneath that, but I'm not even sure if that under the case is tarnishing or just my sweaty little debris stuck on the case. But it's still not tarnishing. So that's a testament to the kind of bronze that they use. It may be good or bad depending on what your preference is. Maybe your preference is, do you want it to patina as much as possible, then you're not gonna get it here. At least that's from my experience. Who knows, maybe from a different wear it patinas more readily or more quickly. But I have a shot of that in the video comparing the look of this narrated bronzo to the Baltony bronze diver, and that Baltony bronze diver is just totally dark and matted and tarnished, and actually it developed that tarnish immediately. The moment that I took it off from its sealed bag, it just tarnished in the very first day. So it's a totally different mixture or fusion of metals, so to speak. So maybe that contributes also to the rapid acceleration of its tarnish. So, but again, it's different per person. For me, at least, I like to think that I'm consistent in wearing my watches, and it looks like it's tarnishing far slower than the others. Celine Driver, Mr. Zelos chimes in the middle of this video because I like to highlight this comment. And he says he can call me Mr. Venezianico now because I've been reviewing many of the Venezianicos, and I don't mind that. He's calling me Mr. V or Captain V if you want to, if I want to chime in that kind of sentiment. And he also wants to get a hands of these Venezianicos. But his comment here is that he's seen this type of bronze only once before on the Tudor Black Bay by my dad, and that his dad owned, and it was gorgeous. So that could be an additional plus to the Venezianico Bronzo, as it distinguishes itself from the regular bronze metals that the microbrands are using. And also he added an extra tip: clean it with lemon juice, it won't stink of vinegar. Yeah, okay, I'll try to do that. But then now I lose my vinegary appeal or my sour appeal from people as part of my watch pirate persona. So I don't know. Let's see if I ended up doing that in the first place. Next is What You Want, who also has a watch channel. I already mentioned that before. Tune into him, subscribe if you can. Really good startup. Oh, and also he has a magazine too, so keep that in mind. He's pushing as much as he could, making an effort in this watch community, a newcomer. And he said, I thought it was over my bronze age, but this one's very good looking. I also like the strap integration, but nothing beats the Blancpain look. Sailcloth gives a dive. Okay, he also liked the sailcloth strap on this bronzo, and I fully agree. I love that look, and it's just it just keeps up with the quality and elevates the whole piece into a more premium feel compared to the FKM rubber. However, I do regret not getting the buckle version of that sailcloth strap. Again, this is a 22mm sailcloth strap, and Artem has all of these covered for you. If you want the most premium and the best looking sailcloth straps in the market, Artem Straps got you covered. So you can browse their selection, and I should have gotten a 22mm strap with the buckle version so that I can swap this gorgeous bronze buckle that Venezianico made for this special model. It has, I think I failed to mention that this has two finishes. It has a polished and brush finish on the buckle itself. Really nicely done, and that's the only thing that I regret in putting in this sailcloth strap. And hopefully I'll get that soon. You know, Venezianico is gracious enough to support our channel, sending us all of these straps to review. I still owe them a couple of reviews, and hopefully I can showcase that in the future. Nizar Murer also commented. Of course, he would comment on a Venezianico. He's always commenting in all of our Venezianico videos. He is our #1 watch pirate fan when it comes to Venezianico. He says, thanks Jason for another mesmerizing watch of Venezianico. Beautiful watch. Tell me, have you seen a beautiful reconditioned old leather strap in their website? Didn't you like it? The thing is, I got sent this watch without that strap, so there was no way for me to see it or feel it firsthand. But looking at the strap itself, I'm pretty pleased, and I would love to have that. So maybe I'll buy one of those. Hopefully they still have some in stock by the time that this bronzo production is done, and I would love to have that in my collection. That's a very nice leather. I love leather. The only thing that I don't like is that Venezianico still doesn't use this quick release spring bars. Please, Venezianico, work on that. But that leather strap also has inscriptions on it. That's a reference to the origin of the inspiration of this watch. So that's a nifty look. It has that fashion feel to it. You know, my preferences, I tend to lean on aesthetics and fashion more than horology. Guys, I appreciate horology and I know what makes it tick, but I'm also a very visual person as a designer, and I love fashion as much as the next person. So that is perfect for me. Hopefully I'll get that. I'll get my hands with that. Now, before we move on to the Ubique comments, I wanted to just mention, this is actually the third time I recorded this video. Initially, it had audio issues. Once again, I'm still getting audio issues. I'm still waiting to get that next mic, so hopefully we'll replace this mic anytime soon. This mic has given me enough mileage already, and it's time, I think, for me to replace it. And hopefully I can step up my audio game as well. So many people are commenting on that. Great video, they say, great editing and all that, but the audio is horrendous. So hopefully I can change that. And also on the channel updates, I would also want to update all of you in the latest saga of my wife's discovery of horology. Now, if you've seen in my latest posts, my previous posts, you've seen how my wife finally discovered strap changing. And when she was able to discover that Zelos black tip titanium, got as much use as possible. My wife just used it almost every single day. I haven't checked it if it had created or developed some scratches and dents. Hopefully not, because it's titanium. And she has learned how to change straps, guys. So I don't know if this is a good thing. I'm still torn between appreciating such and being horrified by it, because I know my wife will just utterly destroy the best watches and the best straps. And Artem's straps are really very, very durable, and that was no match for my wife's wrist. And you know, the latest chapter in this saga is that my wife discovered this watch. This is the Constellar, and it's a really gorgeous looking watch. It has a green dial with a very nice beige outer segment, and that just makes it so versatile when it comes to strap changing. You could put it on a green strap or in this beige strap. Now this is what I wanted to highlight. Look at this. This is what my wife did. This is an Artem strap, okay? This is what she did. She added her own hole to make it fit her small wrist. Now I don't know whether to be proud of my wife because of her ingenuity, or whether to be horrified at the prospect of seeing all of my Artem straps having this kind of holes. So that is my dilemma at the moment, and I'm always anxious seeing all of these watches that come in. She's now testing them out herself personally. Keep in mind, she's the one also receiving these packages, so she gets to unbox them too, even before me. So now all of the watches that are coming in this household are in great peril, because they get to handle them. She gets to handle them before me. And hopefully, like happily, this one doesn't have any scratches as of yet. But this is also the funny thing. She is now experiencing our pain and our quirkiness. Actually, I find it as a quirkiness. I like it that I needed to wake up and wind my watches, enjoy to set the hands and the date, because that's part of the hobby. And she is now understanding and discovering this every time that she wakes up, because this is a manual wind watch, so it's not automatic. She has to wind it every now and then. And now she loads the prospect of winding this, and not only setting the date, but also setting the day to make it match the current day. And she finds it annoying that it doesn't match the day or the date. So now she feels my pain, and I just hope that she doesn't take it out on the watch and like just slam it to the floor. Well, man, I'm now anxious that she might actually do that. But anyway, hopefully she learns what we're learning, and she hops in admirably or favorably in this watch hobby that we have. So let's see. So a warning to all the watch brands out there that's sending watches to us, that is a totally plausible scenario that the watches will be coming in. Next are your UB comments. Pewter's Middle 3335 says, I like their color designs, but they should invest in own FKM straps. Catalog straps seems catalog watches. Okay, he seems to insinuate this, that the impression of the watch tends to be lowered or diminished because they are using off-the-shelf or stock watch components. Now here's the thing. I understand where that's coming from, because the more custom the watch is, the more that you appreciate it, because it's really designed from screw to lug to crown to every single link. But let's face it, not every watch brand can actually do that. They have to work with their budget, work with their factories, and sometimes this is a necessary evil for you to keep it at that cost. And it's not going to be good business to have a certain amount of margin. This is not a charity case, or oftentimes it's not a charity case, and it's not just about passion over profit. You have to, as a person designing a product, you have to consider the profitability aspect of that product. The economy of things tends to dictate the design that you are able to work with. And I feel that Ubique Watches did the best that they could. They focused on the dial and the case. The R&D went into that so that they could maintain the cost low and affordable for the people or for the market that they're targeting in. And then they just use whatever stock components that they have available for them so that they could complete the whole package. And I think that is totally fine. I actually admire that and appreciate that more, because now you're working with your limitations, and that is a totally fine thing to have. Actually, that shows the proficiency of the designer whenever he could make something interesting or even new based on the products or the components that he already has. So I actually admire that. That's not a bad thing, and especially for that price. And because speaking of the price, that is an issue of many of the comments, and I'll just going to be mentioning some of them. Max B893 says would be great around $400. That's $200 less than the retail price. But keep in mind, this is a Kickstarter campaign, so get into the early bird campaign, and then you can get it at a good discount. Fortis Fortuna Adiwa Bat 1071 says they lost their mind with the price tag. Okay, maybe that's too extreme. Look, $600 is not that extreme. Microbrands, I think, tends to plateau or tends to average up around $500. This is just over that. $100 over that is not really that big of a deal. It's not the lose your mind kind of extreme, but it is kind of pricey still. But then again, you're getting a lot of watch for that value, so I think it's still reasonable. I don't agree that they've lost their minds, but those components, those custom components, are pricey. I pointed out in the video that the bezel inserts, there's two different finishes on the bezel inserts, and the indexes are also custom. Whatever's on the dial, and also that case, that lug, I actually didn't mention that, but the lugs are also custom sculpted and finished differently compared to stock materials. So the case had some development in it, some custom finishes and sculpting to it, so it's not really that too generic for the price tag. So I don't agree with that. I think they're reasonably priced enough. And Benjamin Viss, I don't know if I actually inducted Benjamin Viss, but this show we're going to induct Benjamin Viss in the Horological Pirates Hall of Fame. Horological Pirates Hall of Fame as one of its honorary members. Now he's been commenting a lot. Okay, so that's also one of the qualifiers why you can be in the Horological Pirate Hall of Fame. But not only that, because he is a true horological pirate as can be. Why? Because every comment section that he comments on, he tends to use it as his own review section. He effectively pirated my own comment section with these elaborate or long novel-like reviews. And actually, that's kind of good. I appreciate that, and I encourage that. So that I really encourage. Put it in the notes, put it in the books. And instead of commenting on his comment, I would just rather read his comments outright, okay? So this is what he said. Yes, Ubique timed their social media presence well, and their designs immediately caught my attention. One of the best little details for me is how on the white model the material of the stainless insert is fully integrated as a space divider for the color blocks. That's great thinking and ensures that pops of color have greater effect than on the very heavy, paint heavy other versions. The watch looks more serious on the bracelet, which is welcome in such colorful barrage of shapes on the dial. Yet, I'm not a fan of the bracelet's look. The rubber looks much more fun. The items look great too, but emphasis is the fun so much that it becomes more of a niche attraction as a result. With so much attention paid to shaping the dial and bezel, I find the case lags behind. Recessed portions is fine, but actually it's shallow and the whole case comes across as blocky and it needs to sculpting. It's perhaps entirely forgivable, but a disappointment on such a design-driven proposal. On the dial, I was surprised that the cardinal indices did not continue the soft lines of the others, and the lollipop seconds did not receive a more congruent, distinctive shape. I appreciate these must-be prototypes, but the finayahin and cleanliness leaves a lot to be desired. What would worry me then for a new brand yet to prove itself? Will that get sorted satisfactorily? It needs to, especially at that price. So it comments also on the price. But thank you once again, Benjamin Viss, and you are now a honorary horological pirate and inducted in the Horological Pirate Hall of Fame. And now for a comment in one of my old videos, Moser Streamliner Perpetual. Someone commented on it recently, and this is what he says. Lone Jedi says, a watch reviewer without even touching the watch is ridiculous. Okay. To set things straight, and hopefully this is the last time I'm going to say it. I think I said it the last time that was the last time. But okay, this is hopefully definitively the last time I'm going to say it. This whole watch channel was created as a challenge to this very same argument. I posed a question if it's possible to have or to talk about a watch without having the watch in my hand. Mr. Zelos actually replied to that and said he would prefer to have the watch on his hand and review it so that he can have a deep insight and a deep subjective opinion about the product. And I sought out to prove that notion wrong. Well, not just wrong, but actually possible to review something or to talk about something without actually having it in front of me personally. And I think I was able to do that, and 20,000 subscribers are at the very least the result of such an endeavor. So with that in mind, all I wanted to say to Lone Jedi is that yes, you can talk about anything. You don't have to be there, or you don't have to have the products in your hand to have an opinion about it. Of course, it's not as deep as an opinion when it comes to having the watch in front of me or actually holding it in my hand, but it's an opinion nonetheless. Now, take it as you will. That's fine. If you say it's ridiculous, I'm not offended. That's okay. But let us also keep in mind that our age, in where we are right now in YouTube and anywhere else, it's now expected that we are going to comment on something that we actually have in hand. Otherwise, it's not extraordinary anymore, or it's not catching your attention anymore. I recognize that, but it shouldn't be that way. At least years back, it was an exception when you actually have it in your hand. It's actually an exclusive if you have it in your hand and talk about it. There are certain channels that have that or have that exclusivity, but it's not this channel. I'm just happy enough that I'm even getting these watches here in Aruba, much more review them and talk about it, you know. So that I am grateful, and again, I'm not offended by what you're saying. But however, what's more interesting to me is that Lone Jedi here is showing something else. It's showing his sadness and depression about life in general, because it's now trickling into his hobby, to his watch hobby viewing. You know why? Because I could clearly read from your comments the sadness that you have. And I know perfectly why you are sad. It's because of the sad state of Star Wars. Yes, because Star Wars to me right now is dead, effectively dead. And I know you feel the inevitable demise of your favorite franchise. The last trilogy is a debacle unto itself. The series, aside from The Mandalorian and Andor, are all terrible. That's because of three things. One, it's because of bad planning. They said it's a trilogy, but they never planned it to be a trilogy, which is such a shame and a disappointment. They switched directors when they could have just held that one hack director in the first place, then bring him back, and then bring back Palpatine. That sucks. That sucks in many different levels, not just on an entertainment level, but also in a narrative level. It's just bad writing. That's the second point. What the writers nowadays are bad writers. These are the writers that they get to helm these or write or pen these films are the writers that barely have any experience in life in general. The writers that they get are writers that all they know are experiences in a cafeteria, in a Starbucks cafe, and all of the conversations they have there. That's the only experience that they have, which also translates to the stories that they make, and which is such a shame, pushing out the veteran writers and all that. That is sad. And finally, they're hiring these writers and actors because of diversity, equity, and inclusivity. I loathe that. The principles of diversity, equity, and inclusivity are not bad in itself. Actually, Star Wars had that years ago. We had Princess Leia, which is one of the better female protagonists. But she was written well. She was written into the story and not casted for the sake of this DEI. And that is what I hate. And I like. And I think that's the demise of not just Star Wars, but also Marvel. So I feel you, Lone Jedi. You feel alone in this vast galaxy far, far away. So don't jump into the dark side. Don't give in to the rage. Stay calm, my man. Relax. It's just a watch hobby. This should be your escape from all of the Star Wars despair. Be a watch pirate. Be a discerning watch pirate. Someone who's actually scrutinizing the watch scene subjectively and not just calling things as ridiculous. Although they might be ridiculous in many sense. But it's not enough to say something as ridiculous, but point out why it's ridiculous. That's what a true watch pirate is. That's what a true Jedi is. And finally, Mr. Zelos in his allocated segment of our videos. Let's get this out of the way up front. The colors are garish, nuts, over the top, and a bit on the juvenile side. But that's just one watch pirate's opinion. At least on a bracelet, it's toned down a bit. Now, value for money is very good. Good looking with watch faces and dials. Solid movements choice, and wish it was 41mm instead of 39. But again, that's me. I wish them every success, but this watch pirate will respectfully decline. Nothing but raw honesty from Mr. Zelos, and we really appreciate that, and he is telling the truth. At least his truth. I don't agree with everything, but that is his preference, and I like that. And that is always welcome in this channel. He will always have that bar, Mr. Zelos. And that is the show for this video, and we would like to encourage you to comment. Whatever comment it may be. Don't try and think that I will be offended and whatnot. They're just comments. They don't hurt me. But comment, they do help the videos in their algorithm. I've actually stopped um, playing through the algorithms. I just wanted to bring the best content that I could and cater to whatever you guys are saying. So comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. If you have suggestions for future videos, I still want to do that 3 microbrand videos. Let me see how I can program that in my schedule. At least I want to do that like almost every week, you know. But let's see. I want to see. I want to clear all of the backlog that I have. I still have a lot of micro brands to review. I still have a few watches here already and a few coming in. So stay tuned for those. And we have some Tissot content and some GShock contents as well in the pipeline. So that is our show for this video. See you next time.